you know, by people not of the Mormon faith.
Tell me that one more time.
My feet were held as a Mormon. You're just held to a much higher standard. And even if I'm just dealing with run of the mill, my family, run of the mill Lutherans, you know, I have one taste of beer and I'd be like, oh, you drink beer. You
Right,
drink beer.
exactly.
And I'd be like, I had this much, like this. That's it. You drink beer. You drink beer. You know, and then it's like, Jesus.
Well, let alone that I wanted the beer. You know, if I didn't take a drink of it, well, you wanted it. You wanted it.
It's like, and you just drank 3 in front of me.
That's
3
right.
whole. I had one. Oh, yeah, but you drank beer. Jesus.
Well, I'm old enough.
So it's like it was that whole thing. And I hear it in this situation.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like the standard is much more important than the human involved.
Right.
And that's
you are immediately condemned
right.
to death for a slightest deviation from the perfect model of moral decency. In other words, if you're not the Pope, or, well, of course, look, you know, all those religious guys, they were like having sex with boys, you know? And yet the image of self-righteousness is probably the image of self-righteous condemning those whom maybe have been caught or open about that they have done certain things that would be considered wrong. The self-righteous condemn so heavy at that point. You know, well, and they flash this like, well, we're free, you know, because you're the idiot, we're not, ha ha ha.
Even if they're not righteous themselves, they'll condemn the person that has, you know, a little eyelash of a sin.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Just
I found I'm only condemning the condemners. That's what I have always had a fight against, was the condemners. I judge the judgers. I judge the judges. That's it. And there's a place in the upper celestial realms where the the seraphim, which are the closest to supposedly, you know, of course, in the mosaic or in the temple, you know, plans that's where the Holy of Holies, Sacred of Sacred, you know, compartments, and what was allowed in each compartment. And the seraphim were the ones that were the absolute closest, you know, to the sacred Holy of Holies. And so, and here they're like, oh, you know, they're like the British. Oh, well, you know.
where's your hat? You're not wearing a hat in here. We can't serve you.
Yes, exactly. Well,
Get
they deserve
out.
to die.
Get out.
Right. And here I was pleading like Abraham, you know, who said, well, God, well, wait a minute. How about if I find 60 people? Will you save Sodom and Gomorrah if I find 60 people? Yeah, sure, Abraham. You know, and it all
Good
goes
luck to you.
Okay, and it gets down to 5. Okay, look, I'll just find 5. Did he find 5?
Nope.
Nope.
Didn't it come down to 1?
It came down to him and his family was going to ride on his coattails. That's why if they turn their eyes back, it's like too late. You turn back. If they turn back, I can't help you, Abraham. If they turn back and even look.
Salt Lick.
Yeah.
Your wife? Remember that woman? She was your wife? She's Salt Lick now.
She's a Salt Lick. Yeah. I'll try to make it last throughout the years so that it's a memorial
Try
for
not to
evil
rain
people.
too much
Okay?
around here so you can kind of preserve her physiognomy.
Yeah, so there went Lot's wife. What else? Okay, so what are we leading to in this discussion? We're talking, I was saying that the seraphim were self-righteous. You know, if you haven't been down here and walked a mile in my shoes, then watch about what you eschew, you know, as the truth. Don't be blaming me for stuff.
I I think here's the fundamental principle that I'm working through in my mind. Well, I'm not working through it. This is what I believe.
Okay.
That the individual, I realize that principles are important, but the individual in a given situation, all things depending, is more important than the rules by which this individual is supposed to abide.
All right, do it one more time.
The person involved in the situation is more important than the principles that person is supposed to abide by. I mean,
Well, Jesus talked about that. Was one of the main blasted things he talked about. Was how you have made the commands of men as if they're doctrines of men as commands of God. Mm-hmm. And that's not what it is. You guys are screwing up here. You're making your tradition more important than the actual principles of love and stuff that we're supposed to be following.
And that's why, we're talking about tribe mentality. That tribe mentality that makes us behave in certain ways under the tribe umbrella, And if you want the protection of the tribe umbrella, you behave in those tribal kinds of ways. But I think in a lot of respects, it messes up. It has the potential to really mess up lives, to be forced to behave under that tribe mentality umbrella that you can't ever break free of and be who you are. I mean, what are the offenses that are being committed here? Tiny, little,
right.
Tiny, nothing, little,
right.
Tiny, nothing. So it's the overarching principles of which there are eyelash sins. Eyelash sins. They're nothing. And the person involved is not of enough value that those eyelash sins can be looked past. Because they'd probably go away. And who cares if they don't? They're eyelash sins.
Nothing is static.
Am I making sense?
Well, I maybe so. Maybe it's just requiring further examination. A person's got to prove themselves. So they've got to argue and reasonably discuss it out in order for, hey, is my point valid or not? Look, are you lying to me about what you thought?
Liar.
Are you condemning me because of some other fucking reason?
Liar.
Excuse me for cussing. I didn't mean to do that. Bleep.
Liar.
Bleep. 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 Okay,
Bleep.
well, what happened anyway? What
Bleep.
was going on?
Bleep.
What happened?
We were talking about the person being more important than the principles.
More important than the principle.
The person is more important than the
principle.
Than the tiny offenses
I
within
found-
some principle that are like
Trilling.
I found
eyelash
that I was always justifying to others, and the thing in my mind, I was always justifying. Oh well, something. It was always justifying. Well, wait a minute. I'm done with justifying. I got tired of justifying. Wait a minute. You all are messed up as like I am. We all have the same problems or similar problems or in other areas. So I am nobody different than. I don't need to be sitting here justifying and trying to prove anything. I just want to drop it, let it go. I found that when you fully experience something, you are able to let something go in it. Your addiction to it or your need for verification and clarity is what's needed. So you have to argue it out in your own mind. We go through stages. We're in a process. We're people in process. We're trying to find our way. We were born in this world. We didn't know nothing. And all of our models that were given to us, like parents and stuff, they were screwed up. They didn't know what was right and what was wrong. They pretended stuff. They were not good to us at all. And many of us were traumatized by their ignorance.
And that's what I'm saying, is the tribe umbrella. The tribe umbrella under which we all dwell to maintain our own safety and sense of survival. though I believe that's an illusion.
Yes, but it's an illusion that exists in this domain for now. And if we have to deal with it, we're got to deal with what's present here right now, And that illusion, like you're talking about, is as real as you can get. We don't need to talk a utopian God mind, we're all one. Let go of your fear. You can be anything. You can be as powerful. Baloney, hogwash. If you think I'm powerful, just look at what it looked like when I went through my divorce. I didn't look like no powerful godlike being, to myself, let alone anybody else. I looked more like a demon. So what I'm trying to do is at least be humble at the same time. As I apologized in my mind. You could say I was justifying. 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 I was justifying always as if what I was doing was some aberrant behavior. Aberrant behavior. Aberrant behavior. What?
That's wild. It looks cool.
Oh, I know it. That's what I'm doing. I'm talking. I'm going with the flow. It can get weird and weird and weird. Sometimes people have to go back into their dreams. Back into their dreams. Back into their subconscious mind, where they re-experience the emotions, the trauma that they went through. A mind can come up with feverish dreams that make no sense in reality, but they become stuck there because they have a piece of adrenaline linked to them. And therefore you have to go back and look at these dreams. That's why people think that when they're on the healing path, that the devil has come to them. Maybe the devil didn't come. It's just a magnetic thing of what's already buried deep within you. So yeah, the devil's already long gone. He cares less about you. He's working on so many other things. Your little personal life is insignificant. It's like a single molecule. So don't think the devil is out to get you. He's already got a system in gear. And the intelligence or the atmosphere, the very fabric of the mind of this etheric space surrounding all our minds, in which our dreams and illusions exist in this mass mind. We all dreaming a world dream. We're all dreaming a world dream where we're all dreaming it from our own perspectives, adding our own fears in relationship to that dream that we're all personally dealing with. I deal with my fears, you deal with your fears. And I remember when I was 44, I think, somewhere in there, that I was always justifying in my mind about all the people in the past who really screwed me over. They were all creeps.
And what does justifying sound like? What does that sound like? I want an example.
And I'm having a hard time getting it back because I let it go. I don't justify for myself.
But was it like this? Well, I really wouldn't have yelled at that person, except that they were so mean to me when I bought that car from them, and they cheated me. Is that what it's like?
Well, let's just say yes, okay? I don't. That sounds pretty limited, pretty minuscule.
I'm making it up. I'm just.
Well, no, I know. So let's just say it is, okay?
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Let's just say it is until something else comes. I don't know what else.
Justifying when you were 44.
Yeah. Well, no, I feeling bad. Like, oh, here's one. I had women in my life, other than my wife, that I had fun with, artistically, creatively, professionally, and had a blast with. And I wanted to accept liking them more than just, hey, well, thanks for practice. See you later. Bye. It was deeper than that. It was like, wow, I want you to know that I really had a deep, meaningful experience here. This was fabulous. I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude. I'm going to be thinking about this all night long. And in fact, tomorrow I'll probably be still singing and feeling the groove with you. I had those kind of thoughts and those experiences. It ruined my marriage because they became subconscious rocks in the flow of the water. Things that have to be hidden, things that have to be not admitted to in order to save the uncontrollable reactivity of the other person who's not strong enough to handle that kind of truth. And so there you go. And so therefore in my mind, I'm grappling with those kind of problems in my life. Here I got 2 kids. What am I going to do with those? Learning. And there's so much in our lives. Family life is one of the biggest mountains to ever climb. The family life, marriage, relationship that's longer than 10 years is a phenomenal act of power. Making it 15 years, 16 years is, okay, hey, it was not too bad. Must have had some good years out of it. 20 years, 25 is like, okay, you finally achieved something. What happened? Did you all become apathetic about life and that's why you're able to survive with each other now? Oh, you've been married 50 years. Oh, you guys are pretty much dead. You guys are dead. You don't know what love is. Fuck. You don't know what love is. Don't tell me you know what love is because you stayed married for 50 years. You just learned how to ignore each other. Or be able to just kind of live in your own space with each other. And maybe there's a valid truth to that we all need our personal space, to where we feel okay within ourselves for who we are. Okay, I thought about other women. Wow, and they were beautiful and they liked me. They dug me. What was I supposed to do? Go, well, I can't even think, entertain such a thought. I've got to go home and have sex with my wife now and never think about the kind of life I could have spent with you. And it might have been totally amazing in contradistinction to maybe my marriage where my wife is a constant nag every single day of my life with a mean look on her face. I hate living with that. I would like to live a wild life with a beautiful babe, singing and playing and making, and then going out and exploring the world and somebody keeping me alive. But okay, maybe I'm thinking illusions here. I woke up to this kind of discussion. Give me a little more space, man. Give me a little more space, baby. I'm telling you. Give me a little more opportunity. Get right there on that edge. And just give me a little more opportunity. Do you hear what I'm saying? Give me a little more freedom that who I am as a being is just like you. Maybe you wish you had more in your life. Maybe the relationship has become somehow balancing and you do less because you're all balanced. Maybe you need to be alone with a hunger inside that seeks to find an answer through the artistic expression. That's it, the artistic expression. The artistic expression. That's where the discussion lies. That's where the discussion lies, in the artistic expression of discussion, of the process of growing and learning and grasping and to learn, to know, to dig in. Whenever one goes, and they become apathetic and they kind of, oh, yeah, okay. Well, they're letting fear win, because unless fear is winning, there's a forward movement always. And if you're not going with the forward movement, you're holding back the forward movement. And that forward movement is within everybody. You end up resisting those who are bringing the very movement that are going to bring humanity, freedom, and the growth into a higher state of consciousness. We climb together. No one climbs alone. They share the information. You either go along with it, validate it, and it moves on to the next level of application, or you deny it through fear because you can't do it yourself, so let's just kind of poo-poo the whole thing. Or we're stuck in tradition here. We're not used to getting outside of the bounds of acting normal, you know. Come on, Suzee, come on. Give me some energy here, okay? Give me some energy. Say something in between somewhere along the line, something that is gonna reveal a process of a group movement in thinking, okay? I'm gonna just turn it over to you right now, and you are going to continue this discussion that I've been doing right now, okay?